Hello everyone. So in this video, we will be discussing oblique triangles. So last time we have discussed right triangles. Now we'll be discussing oblique triangles. So what is oblique triangles? So basically oblique triangles are all triangles that are not right angled. So meaning to say, oblique triangle is a triangle that contains no right angles, or it has either three acute angles or one obtuse angle and two acute angles. So basically oblique triangles is just a triangle, but it has no right angle on its one of the angles. So here in oblique triangles, we can no longer use the two of the simplest techniques for solving right triangles, which are the Pythagorean theorem and the fact that two acute angles are complementary. So here in oblique triangles, we'll be using two laws of trigonometric functions, which are the sine laws and the cosine laws. So basically, the sine law here states that the side A over the sine angle A is equivalent to the side B over sine angle B, which is also equivalent to side C over sine of angle C. So basically, if you want to find angle or the side A with the given C over sine C and angle sine A, you can use this formula. You can have A over sine A is equivalent to C over sine C. So you just have to equate them together in order for you to solve one of the missing variable or one of the missing value. So we also have what we call the cosine law. So cosine law, in order for us to find the side A, side B, and the side C, this is the formula. These are the formulas that we can use. So basically, magkabaliktad lang sila. You just have to alter the equation. So if you are looking for A, this is your formula. If you're looking for B, this is your formula. And if you are looking for C, this is your formula. The same goes with the finding the angles using cosine law. So we have here A is equivalent to arc cos or inverse cos of b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. So basically, kung ano yung angle na hinahanap mo, yun yung isa-subtract mo. The same with the b, if you are looking for the angle b, you will be subtracting your equation with the side b. The same with c, all of this uses cosine law. Okay? So here are some cases of what law we should use. Is it the sine law or the cosine law? So you have five cases. We have case 1 that uses the sine law, and in order for us to know that we have to use sine law, kani ang ato ang tan-awon. We have given two angles and the side opposite one of them. So here there are two angles that are given and opposite side of either of the angles given. So that is case 1. So for example, if the given angles are A and C, so the opposite one or the opposite side of either of the one is either A or either C. So um this is how, or ito yung palatandaan kung ano yung law na gagamitin natin. This is under case 1 and we have to use sine law. Now for the case 2, we still need to use sine law. Yung palatandaan is we have given two angles and the included side. When we say included side, let's say our given angle is A and B. Yung included side natin is the side C. So meaning to say, ang included side is not one of the opposite or not one of the sides of A and B. So yung included angle is the side different than the angle given. Okay? So we also have case 3, which is the sine, uses sine law again. And the given is two sides and the angle opposite one of them. So two sides, let's say our sides given are A and B. So the angle opposite one of them is either angle A or angle B. Okay, so that is the determining factor of which sine law, or which law are we going to use? Is it sine or cosine? So we also have case 4 that uses cosine law. So sa cosine law, in this case 4, given two sides and the included angle. So when we say included angle again, so if our two sides given are A and B, so the included angle is the angle of C. Okay? So kung ano yung given na sides, yung included angle is the one that is different than A and B. So that is C. So here, given the three sides, that uses cosine law. So kung ang given is A, B, and C, and no angles given, so you can solve each angles by cosine law. Okay, so you have to remember these cases and the laws that is applied in solving for each of this. Okay, so that's the cases that we have. So let's try to solve some examples that incorporate to the cases that we have. So first, this is solve the triangle in which two angles and the side opposite are given. So here we have, this is an oblique triangle. This triangle does not involve, or there are no right angle from this triangle. And this is also not equilateral triangle because as you can see, this side is longer than this side. They are not equal. Okay, so let's try to solve the example. So let's try to plot that the given in our triangle. So we have here A is equal to 7, so meaning to say this side is 7. A angle is 35 degrees. Angle B is 49 degrees. So as you can see, given two angles and one side opposite one of them. So that is under given two angles and one side opposite one of them. So that is case 1. So meaning to say, we are going to use sine law. So in order for us to solve the triangle, we have to find C, we have to find B, and we have to find C. And as we know, the angle inside the triangle is 180 degrees, right? So meaning to say, in order for us to solve this one, or in order for us to solve for the angle C, we can use we can actually use the 180 minus the angles given. However, let's just use the sine law in solving for this one. If you can recall, A over sine A is equivalent to B over sine B is equivalent to C over sine C. So here, we have given A, which is 7, over sine A angle, which is 35 degrees. Now, let's also identify, we don't have a given value for B, so that is sine 49 degrees. And for the C, we don't have value for the side C, and we don't have value for the angle C. So in this case, let's just solve first for the B, since this is easier by using the formula. So we can use this formula in order for us to solve for sine B, or side B. So let's just equate that one. For B, we have 7 over sine 35 is equivalent to B over sine 49. So in order for us to isolate B, we have to multiply both sides by sine 49. So meaning to say, we have 7 sine 49 over sine 35 is equivalent to B. Now, if you try to calculate that one, you have to make sure that your calculators are in degrees mode. So that is equivalent to 9.21. So meaning to say, our B is 9.21 units. So this is our B. So we have values for our B already. Now, again, we cannot use either this one, because if we use this one, we are missing two variables, or we are missing two values here. So meaning to say, again, we can use the formula earlier in order for us to solve for the angle C, which is C is equivalent to 180 degrees, which is the degrees in triangle, minus the given angles that we have, which are the 35 degrees minus the 49 degrees. So if you try to calculate this one, this is equivalent to 96 degrees. So we already have value for our sine C. So we can already solve for our side C. So for that, we can use this one already since we have values for B already. So we have um, the value. Let's erase this one first. So the value for B is 9.21 over sine B, which is 49 degrees. That is equivalent to side C, which is unknown, over sine C, which is 96 degrees. Now, in order for us to isolate or calculate the value for C, multiply both sides by sine 96. So we have 9.21 sine 96 over sine 49 is equivalent to C. Again, try to calculate that one. That is equivalent to, so our side C is equivalent to 12.14. So this is now the answers for the missing values in our triangle. Okay, so basically just use the sine law that we have. Okay, next one, we have solved the triangle ABC if C is equivalent to 25, A 35, and B is 68 degrees. As you can see, given two angles and an included angle. So here, that is in case two angles and an included side. So that is case 2. So we have to use sine law. So let's just try to write this one again. We have 35 degrees. We have 68. We have 25. So solve for the triangle ABC. So we need to solve for B, we need to solve for C, we need to solve for A. So the same process, we can solve for C as early as now. That's 180 degrees minus 68 minus 35. So basically that is equivalent to 77 degrees. So that is our angle C. Now we can use, or we can solve for either side A or side B by sine law. So we have value for C and we already have value for sine for the angle C. So we can use A over sine A is equivalent to C over sine C. Again, you have to find a formula that is when you try to find a value, isa na lang yung unknown variable, which is here, A na lang yung unknown. So we have A over sine 35 is equivalent to 25 over sine 77. So multiply both sides by sine 35. So A is equivalent to 25 sine 35 over sine 77. That is equivalent to 14.72. So that is our A. Next, we can solve for B. We can have B over sine B is equivalent to C over sine C. Actually, you can also equate this one as A is equal over sine A since we already have values for side A and angle A. So we have B, that is unknown, sine B, that is 68. C is equivalent to 25 sine 77. So our B, multiply both sides by sine 68. So we have 25 sine 68 over sine 77 is equivalent to, this is equivalent to 23.79. So that is for our B. Okay, so meaning to say we already solved for the triangle, for our triangle ABC. Next, another case. This is given two angles and an opposite angle of either of them. So we have A is equivalent to 526, B is equivalent to 421, and A is equivalent to 130 degrees 50 minutes. So if you try to calculate this one, or if you try to solve for the degrees, that is equivalent to, that is just basically equivalent to 130.83. So this is 130.83 degrees. So we need to solve for the missing part of our triangle, which are C, B, and C. So in this case, this is in what case? So we have given two sides and an angle opposite one of them. So that is two sides and angle opposite one of them. That is sine law. So that is under case 3. So the same process. We can solve for, actually we can solve for sine B or the angle B, since we have value for A, sine A, and we have value for side B. So we have A over sine A is equivalent to B over sine B. So here we have 526 sine 130.83 is equivalent to 421 over sine B. So sine B is unknown, so we can multiply both sides by sine B para malagay natin sa numerator si sine B. So in this case, magiging 526 sine B over sine 130.83 is equivalent to 421. So in this case, kailangan pa natin ma-isolate si sine B. So we can either divide both sides by 526 over sine 130.83, or we can go ahead and, sige, divide na lang natin para makancel natin si 526. So we can divide 526 over sine 130.83. The same here, 526 divided by over sine 130.83. So in this case, makancel ito. Yung maiiwan na lang is si sine B. So here, division of a fraction, that is reciprocal, multiply with the reciprocal of the denominator. So we have 421 sine 130.83 divided by 526. So in this case, hindi pa rin na-isolate si B. So meron pa rin tayong sine. So here, we can use the inverse trigonometric functions. We need to divide both sides by sine. Divide by sine. And as we know, pag nakadivide siya sa sine class, that is already equivalent to arc sine. So meaning to say, B is equivalent to arc sine of 421 sine 130.83 divided by 526. Again, that is arc sine, that is not sine. So calculate that one and multiplying arc sine. That arc sine class is just equivalent to sine raised to negative 1. So you can see this from your calculator, sine raised to negative 1, that is shift sine. So you can find arc sine. So that is 421 sine of 130.83 divided by 526. So basically, this is equivalent to 37.27 degrees. Since this is angle, so you need to put degrees sign for our sine B or the angle B. So we are done with angle B. Now we can solve for angle C. So sa angle C, we can just use 180 minus the angles that are known. So C is equivalent to 180 minus 37.27 minus 130.83. So that is basically equivalent to, so you just have to make sure, class, if you are, if you, if the answer here in solving for the last angle is mag-negative siya, meaning to say hindi na tama ang either of your angle. So here, our angle is 11.9. That should be in, degrees. So C is equal to 11.9 degrees. So we have already values for angle C, so we can solve for the side C. So we have A over sine A is equivalent to C over sine C. So A is equivalent to 526. Our angle A is 130.83. That is equivalent to C, which is unknown, over sine 11.9. So multiply both sides by sine 11.9. So our C is equivalent to, this is equivalent to 143.35. So that is our side C. Okay, I hope this is clear with all of you. So let's have another one. We have given A, B, we have given two angles, and the angle C is equivalent to 60 degrees, meaning to say these are two angles and one included angle. So that is two sides given and the included angle. So here we have A and B as our sides and the included angle, which is C. So this is, if we try to write this in our triangle, this is equivalent to 8, this is equivalent to 10, and this is 60. Okay, so again we will be using cosine law in this case. So cosine law, class, is depending on what you are, what problem or what side are you looking for, or what side are you solving for. So we have here the formulas. So if we'll be solving for A, we need to have the values of B, C, and the angle A. So let's see here if we can, if we have those values. So here we can solve for the side C since we have value for A, B, and the side and the angle C. So if you can, if you have remembered, that is equivalent to A squared plus B squared plus minus 2AB cos C. So we can solve for, we can use this formula, minus 2AB cos C. Okay, so we have value for the angle C, we have value for side A and side B. So we can just go ahead and substitute. So we have 8 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 8 times 10 cos 60 So that is basically equivalent to, so this is equivalent to 84, but as you can see, this is still in squared, so we have to square root both sides. So the value of our C now is equivalent to 2 square root of 21, or in decimal point, that is approximately equivalent to 9.17. So this is now the value for our C. So after that, we have the value for the C, so we can already solve um, for the other terms, or for the other unknown values. So what do you think are the unknown values that we can solve using the given formulas that we have? So do you think we can solve for angle A from this one? So let's see if we can solve for angle A. For angle A, we need to have the value for our B, C, and A. So we can actually solve for that already since we have value for the three angles. So that is, so we can have, or we can solve for angle A. That is basically equivalent to arc cos, or inverse cos of B squared plus C squared minus A squared over 2BC. Okay, so we have here arc cos of B squared, our B is 10, plus our C, which is 9.17 squared, minus 8 squared over 2 times our 10 times C, which is 9.17. So calculating this one, this is equivalent to, this is equivalent to 49.1 degrees. So that is our angle A. So check on this one, check on this. Now we can solve for the angle B. So actually you can just use the B is equivalent to 180 minus 60 minus 49.1. So basically that is equivalent to, so that is equivalent to 70.9. So that is the angle B. Okay, so last one we have here, we have given A, B, and C. So that's given three sides. So from this three sides, that is 30.5. The C is 62.6. This is 40.4. So meaning to say we have to solve for the angles A, B, and C. So from that, we can use the formulas that we have. For A, we can use A is equivalent to arc cos B squared plus C squared minus A squared over 2BC. So, plug natin yung values. So, we have B is 40.4 squared plus 62.6 squared minus 30.5 squared all over 2 times 40.4 times 62.6. So, calculating this, we have 40.4 squared plus 62.6 squared minus 30.5 squared all over 2 times 40.4 times 62.6. So basically this is equivalent to 24. So this is angle 24 for letter A. Now for letter B, or for the angle B, we have arc cos of A squared plus C squared minus B squared over 2AC. Okay, so we have arc cos of A, that is 30.5, plus C, that's 62.6 squared, minus B, which is 40.4 squared, all over 2 times 30.5 times 62.6. So calculating this one again, we have, sorry, this should be squared. So this is 32.6 degrees. So that is for the B. Now let's just solve for C. In order for us not to use cosine law anymore, we can just use 180 minus 32.6 minus 24. So that is our angle angle C. So we have 180 minus 32.6 minus 24. So basically, the angle C is 123.4. So this is now the angles or the solution for the given triangle ABC. Okay, so basically that's it lang for the oblique triangles.